Welcome to the Fishbowl Radio, everybody. My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Jalen. We're going to be recapping the Kennesaw State game since the Cajuns have a bye week this week here. So, a lot we got to get into, Jalen, here. So, next week coming up, Cajuns play Tulane. What you think about their performance against Kennesaw State and some initial reaction to it?
Yeah, Chief. Kennesaw State uh against the Cajuns was a great game. We kind of talked about it before the show how we were kind of a little scared because Kennesaw State kind of started 7-0. They had a great drive, but then from then it was all Cajuns. They scored 20 points in a second. I mean, it was just a demolition going on after Kennesaw State scored that first touchdown. The Cajuns said, "You know what? We're not losing this game." And guess what? That's why they ended up winning by 20 plus points. The biggest thing going into the game, I think for me, Chief, was the run game. I mean, they just dominated Kennesaw State. I mean, from the get go with Elijah Davis, Zylan Perry, it was just. I mean, it's crazy. They were missing Draylon Washington, their top back. So I think when you look at that, also, it's like okay, now you're missing your top back. Now it's really a running back by committee, and they were able to score, put a lot of points on the board, putting up 34 points. And I think Ben Woolridge also had a great game. Defense only gave up 10 points after that first touchdown. They gave up a field goal in the last few TikTok minutes of the game. So I think overall it was a great performance all phases of the game for the Cajuns.
Yeah, we were talking about Zylan Perry in the offseason here about how he was having trouble with carrying the rock and causing fumbles last year. That was something he needed to improve on from the 2023 season. So I mean, look, that game played very well, ran the ball effectively here. The Cajuns were able to dominate the line of scrimmage, which really helped them out a lot here. They combined for 184 yards between him and Elijah Davis here, and they erased an early deficit, and they had 34 unanswered points in a 34-10 win against Kennesaw State here. Ben Woodridge, very effective, 15 of 19 for 189 yards and a touchdown here. And Dalen Cambry, special team specialist, like you had pointed out, I guess the Texas State game and stuff before while we were talking about them in the offseason. So this is a game I want to see the Cajuns dominate at the point of attack because, the Cajuns do one thing very well, and they're known for having good, stable running backs. I mean, going back to, Tyrell Fenroy, I think kind of really, was one of the guys that kind of started this trend that we saw here. And then, you kind of go into HUD years with Alonzo Harris and Elijah McGuire. And then you go to Elijah Mitchell, Trey Regis, and that crew there, and to the present day. So when you're three deep here, and Zylan Perry being a very good, special teams returner as well, got a lot of speed. So I mean, if he continues what he's doing, he's going to get more carries here, and that's going to be able to help the Cajuns out. When you have a three deep running back set here, it really puts pressure on the defensive line and the linebackers here to stay fresh. If you don't have depth in your team, you're going to be in some trouble here trying to rotate them guys in and out because they'll be able to keep running you, and you won't be able to get fresh bodies in there to stop them, and that puts more pressure because you're going to be on the field longer, and you get more wore out more. And if they're able to run the ball effectively against you, well, they're going to open up the passing game, which will allow Ben Woodridge, which have been solid so far the first two games of the year here. So if Ben stays healthy, the Cajuns will spread the ball around here whenever they try to collapse in on the run for the Cajuns. So I think that's the strategy we got to be looking at when the Cajuns are coming forward here. And also in some breaking news, well, earlier news, not really breaking news, earlier news today, the south end zone at Cajun Field has been sold out for the Tulane game here. So this is going to be one of those games that when you look at it here, it's going to be a packed house here. And last time when me and Mike was out there, and you were out there too, Jalen, we saw the energy at Cajun Field was up there because I hadn't felt energy like that in that stadium since the 2021 Sun Belt Championship game. So I think we're trending in the right direction. I do think that having everybody kind of more compacted together than being spread out really does help the energy of the stadium here. So that's something that Tulane's going to deal with whenever they get to Lafayette at Cajun Field here. So it'll be something they're coming off a loss against Kansas State there, but I do think here that the Cajuns do end up, resorting to this running game here. And the defense, like you said, played very well, only giving them 10 points here. And that's something I would have hoped them to start a little bit faster. earlier in the game, but they just probably just you're kind of going mano a mano to try to see what these guys are up to or how well they're doing here. But it is Kennesaw State's like first home game in FBS, and you know people were like, "Oh, y'all were kind of slacking too much about it." But I was wondering if they had the depth to compete with the Cajuns. I thought the Cajuns had a better offensive line up front, and look, we were both correct in those um, looking at it there because look, you can't judge week one. You can't even almost judge week two. Now we're getting more of a sample size with these teams here. Now week three, week four, we kind of know what you're about at that point. So we'll see here once we get through week three and week four. Teams get better as the season goes along. So hopefully the Cajuns do keep going with that. I think we're gonna be in for a great games. Not this Saturday coming up, but next Saturday at Cajun Field when the Cajuns do take on Tulane. So what is a weakness of the Cajun you think going into that Tulane game is something we'll have to keep an eye on here, but also like what do you think it is? You think it's the run defense still needs to be worked on, or what you think, Jalen?
I'm thinking, but as far as when I watched the game against Kennesaw State, and I saw the game. We were both there seeing the game against Graham. I think when it comes to, I think just pass defense. I think a lot of times, um, I won't say the receivers for other teams were open, but I will say like that. I felt like that the defensive backs kind of played a little off, and they would give up a few big plays. Because even when you saw the Grambling game, when Grambling was really like, I mean, they were really losing the game, but when it got towards when it got in the second half, especially in the third quarter, they started putting points on the board. That's because they were really slinging the ball down the field. Their receivers were catching it and just making plays. And then against Kennesaw State, I mean, when you saw that first drive, it's like, okay, like they are really moving this ball down the field, and it's already 7-7 nothing UL to begin the game. So as they're one of the runners, running backs that ran in on the first touchdown for the Owls. But yeah, I think I would say the pass. There's just the pass defense, but and overall, the defense in both games only gave up 10 points. I mean, what more can you ask about from your defense? And
Yeah,
and the, and the defense has been getting interceptions too. So we can't sit there and talk about how they're playing bad. But if I had to pick like one position group that to answer your question, I would say just the pass defense. But even then, it's really slim, honestly.
yeah, they only gave up 93 yards to Kennesaw State there. That's something that you look at it. There was sometimes the Kennesaw quarterback just missed his guys. Okay, let's not act like he was throwing like darts and stuff and just hitting everything, with pinpoint accuracy on his throws. There was times that they got pressure on him. He was able to. Michael Benfield led Kennesaw State's rushing option attack with 31 yards on the ground, which that was more of the quarterback scramble, him getting out of the pocket, getting open there. He likes to roll to his right side of the game, right side of the field. That way he was able to open up the field there and able to sprint down the field and gain a bunch of yards. That is something that these teams are looking at here, and they're going to be looking at this here. But what I took some game notes about Tulane. I'm not going to say everything about it here, but I did watch the Kennesaw State and Tulane game, and when we do our preview, I wrote down some stuff while I was watching the game to kind of see what I'm seeing here. And I know the Cajun are probably seen in their film study, and they're going to be making notes like I did there. I wanted to come up with 5 points here, and we're gonna show everybody that on Monday here. But look, that this is something that you got to see here. These guys are going to come out ready to play at Cajun Field. They're going to be jazzed up. They're going to be excited here because look, I like what Dez is doing. He's definitely got a different tone to him this year. And like it seemed like the first 2 years, whenever he was talking about his football team, he was really unsure about what he has. Dez knows what he has now. And I think that's something like when a coach, like the way body language speaks a lot here. And I think Dez's body language, I think he's been through 2 seasons here. He's like, look, I got to figure this stuff out or I'm not going to make it, you know. So that is something there that he's got it figured out. I think he probably feels like this is actually his team now. I've been through 2 recruiting cycles with them, maybe even 3. Would it be 3? Yeah, I think it'd be 3 because you got like the winner. But yeah, 3 recruiting cycles. This feels more like my team than it does Billy's. A lot of Billy's team left there. I'm finally able to develop my guys that I want that fit my philosophy of how I want things done here. So look, he's just having fun with it. So got a veteran group. We're gonna see how well he does once we get into Sun Belt play and stuff. But I like the where the Cajuns are headed this year so far here. I want to see a dominating win against Kennesaw State, and that's exactly what we got there. Like offensive line is a strong offensive line. They worked really well in that game. It was very much in unison in that game. Go on the road. It's always tough to win on the road, no matter who you're playing against here.
That's
And
true.
look, yeah, they were able to keep their head on a swivel here. They took a punch early with that touchdown they gave up in the first quarter, but they were able to respond back to it, and that's called having grit there, and having I got to get out there and stomp some mud holes basically and walk them dry. So um,
Yeah,
that's basically what they did there. So look, the offensive line was the point of the attack for the Cajuns here, and that is something that I feel like this is this team's identity. I feel like the ground and pound attack for sure is something that they need to be looking more at here, and run through Traylon Washington, Solomon Perry, and Elijah Davis, because look, when you got a three-headed beast at running back, we have shown in the past that it works at Louisiana. So that is something that you know they all have their own special. Like Jalen Washington's more of a power back. Elijah Davis is more. He can run between the tackles, but he's good out when he gets on that outside there too. Solomon Perry too. I mean, look, these guys, if they can do it here, they can get it done. And I think that's really paying dividends here. I think the emergence of Terrence Carter at the tight end position is also helping out the Cajuns a lot there too. Because look, he's catching balls too. Let's not sleep on the tight ends for the Cajuns. They are definitely having some good games out there here, catching the ball, getting open, and doing what they do. So look, that is something that when you look at it here, the grand scope of all the stats and everything here, you can see how these play actions work here. They're getting blocks on the outside. They're springing these backs free. That is some stuff that we don't talk about a lot of. But when you seal the edge, that outside run, you got to get a key block. You can get a lineman out there in the second level. Man, you can knock some guys back and really that is when you're on defense and you see that happening to one of your boys right there, you're like, oh man, this isn't good at all. Because if they're getting to the second level, like the Cajuns were doing a lot this game, it was really tough here. They had the attendance of 11,000 over there. I thought there'd been more people over there, but look, because it was their first game, so you'll see what happens here. Let's look at some stats here. I'm gonna pull up some individual stats. Let me flip this camera here. I wonder if I can add this here. Let's see. What is this?
what you trying to show the people, Chief?
I'm trying to pull up the stats here. Let's see. Oh, that's me. I don't want to show me. Give me a second, guys. Uh, I wonder if it was going to give me a source or not. I don't think it did. I had it before. Let's see. Picture in frame? No, that's. Yeah, I'll probably do it at some other time. Give me a second. I'll figure it out at some point. But look, uh, yeah, like I'm going to read it here because I should have did that a little bit earlier. But look, Zylan Perry was averaging 10 yards a carry. Okay, Elijah Davis 7.3. As a team, they're averaging over 7.1 yards a carry. I mean, Cajuns only gave up 3 yards a carry by all their backs. So very solid, and that gets you third down situations. And look, I wish it had targets on here because it didn't really. Jacob Bernard had a better game. Look, he took some flack the first week, but look, 4 catches, 84 yards, good bounce back game. We kind of expected that from him. Robert Williams, Terrence Carter got 3 catches for 17 yards. Look, that is something that Dale Martin got some catches, 2 catches for 8 yards. Silent Perry a little bit. Harvey Broussard got a catch for 6 yards. Lance Lagrange got a good catch for 20 yards. Robert Williams 2 catches for 41 yards. Look, and a touchdown. So look, that is something that you got to look at here, and this look, that's just the way it goes. So um, you want to pick some Sunbelt games, Jalen, or what?
Hey, Chief, let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, I'm here for it.
You here for it?
Oh, I'm here for it. Let's do it.
All
It's
right.
it's
So
fun
look.
picking these games, even
So
though the
yeah.
Cajuns are playing this week. But still, let's do it. Let's pick these Sunbelt games.
All right. Let me get this. Let me change my little caption here. I wonder where all my stuff went. Oh well. Let's see. That show. I definitely changed this before the show started. Give me a second, guys. I'll type. I definitely hit week 3 here. I don't know why it didn't pop up. So yeah, look. There we go. Let's get our lower third going here. or
Hey,
ticker.
love to see it. Love to see
Yeah,
it.
love to see it. So whenever look, I think Southern Miss um they're having a game right now. That's well, not right now, but like this week. I think it's big. Well, Texas State is playing right now. That is something, and they're beating Arizona State 21-14. Now, we talked about Texas State here. I don't think they're gonna be able to hold on to this lead though. 21-14. I think Arizona State does come back and end up winning this one here, but Texas State is a very potent team. I would not be surprised if they ended up beating Arizona State here. South Alabama, they're leading 45-10 over Northwestern State right now in the second quarter themselves. I think South Alabama will win that game. What do you think, Jalen, about the games being played tonight?
Yeah, because I was looking at it too, but I didn't see the updated scores. I was just seeing the games. But yeah, I was gonna go with Arizona State in the beginning. The fact that Texas State is leading doesn't surprise me. And like you said, they win this game. That doesn't surprise me either. They are one of those sleeper teams in the Sun Belt. They have a great quarterback running back duo. Um, as far as South Al, I kind of felt they were going to run over Northwestern State, which they're doing right now. So it's honestly not a surprise for me.
Yeah, so Arkansas State taking on number 17, Michigan here. Michigan coming off a big loss against Texas. And
Embarrassed.
this does, and they got the tail between their legs. Texas looks like a national championship winning team this year, which Quinn Ewers is leading the way there with them. Yeah, I would not want to play Texas this year. They looked really good, but Michigan, they're gonna take out their rage against Arkansas State. I got Michigan. It sucked because if Michigan would have won, Arkansas State maybe would have came in there and maybe gave them a better game because it's worse whenever you come in there and that team had just had a big matchup and they lost. So you're coming in there like, yeah, we got to save face, and when you get embarrassed, makes it even worse for you. So Arkansas State is playing them at the wrong time. What do you think, Jalen?
Yeah, it's not the fact that Michigan lost to Texas Chief. It's the fact that they literally got embarrassed, and no one wants to get embarrassed like that. And especially after a lot of people picked Michigan to win the game, I was really surprised it wasn't even close. But I'm gonna go with Michigan on this one. They are, like you said, they're going to get their revenge. They're going to. I really do feel sorry for Arkansas State because I think Michigan is going to come in with that mindset of, hey, we got destroyed last week. We got to bully somebody, and unfortunately, that's going to be against Arkansas State. So I'm gonna take Michigan.
Coastal Carolina versus Temple here. I think Coastal 18-point spread. I think they take that one. Who you got, Jalen?
Yeah, Coastal is going to take this one. I know they're away out there on the road, but it doesn't matter. They're gonna get the win against Temple.
Troy versus Iowa. So Troy's 0-2 so far this year. Troy has not looked like Sun Belt defending champions. They lost a lot to the transfer portal beginning of the year, which we've been talking about that there. Lost their head coach, had a new head coach in there. So I think Iowa takes the win here. I just feel bad for Troy going to go start the year 0-3. You got Jalen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Hawkeyes. Also, I do feel sorry for Troy, but Chief, I think you remember when I said it at the beginning of the year. I said Troy will not three-peat, and I'm looking good so far. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta give me
yeah.
props.
Look. I give you credit all the way through there. I mean, look. I thought maybe Troy, should be, a little bit better off, but it just doesn't work out that way for him here. So, um,
Yeah, so I'm going with the Hawkeyes, but Troy, I want them to at least compete in this game because nobody wants to be defending Sun Belt champion and go 0-3.
yeah. App State versus East Carolina. App State, I foolishly picked to upset Clemson.
I'm so
Clemson,
upset.
so East Carolina, App State, 1.5 favorite. What App State team do we have? That's kind of the question here. I was wrong about them last week. Uh, they're going on the road. It's tough to win on the road, period. And I think East Carolina gets it. I just can't pick App State here. I'm going against Vegas. I just don't see it happening there. I got East Carolina. Who you got, Jalen?
You weren't the only one who made a foolish pick last week because I really thought App State was going to go out there and beat Clemson. Dabo said, "Hey, we have other plans," and they utterly destroyed App State. So, I'm going to go with App State in this one. I don't think I made a foolish pick. I don't think anyone else made a foolish pick this week. So I'm going to go with App State.
Okay. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Look, Virginia Tech 14.5-point favorites. Old Dominion has yet to win a game yet this year. So give me the team that's won so far this year. Give me Virginia Tech over Old Dominion. Who you got, Jalen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Virginia Tech on this one. I know Old Dominion is sitting there at home. They're trying to get their first win, but I don't think it's gonna be against Virginia Tech.
South Carolina State taking on Georgia Southern. I got Georgia Southern winning this game. South Carolina State. This will be a good game for Georgia Southern. I think they'll go 2-1. Who you got, Jalen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Georgia Southern in this one. Honestly, it should be an easier game than we expect, but you just never know with a lot of these teams. So I'm gonna go with Georgia Southern in this one.
Vanderbilt versus Georgia State. So look, man, I'm hoping Vandy has a great year. I've always been like, if there is an underdog in the SEC that you want to do really well in there, it's definitely Vandy. Because everybody's like, oh, they're the brains of the SEC, which they really are. No debate there, basically. So I do think that Vandy does pick up this win over Georgia State here and, go to 3-0. Georgia State go to 1-2. 10.5 point favorite. But look, if I'm betting money on this game, which I'm pretty sure some of y'all watching this podcast probably are, or doing that kind of thing, I would probably take Georgia State. I don't think Vandy's going to win it by 10.5. I do think a 7 or a 10 point game because I feel like Georgia State's a lot more closer to Vanderbilt and they could potentially pull this upset here. If I had to pick an upset game for anybody, it probably would be Georgia State here. And that would be my upset pick. Out of all these games going on to this upcoming week for the Sun Belt, I think Georgia State has the best chance to beat Vanderbilt out of all the teams that we picked so far. So if you're looking for an upset game, this will be the one that you got to watch out for. Who you thinking, Jalen?
Yeah, so I'm thinking I think Vandy's gonna take this one. But like you said, Chief, I mean it's going to be closer than everybody expect, and it's going to be at Georgia State. So anything is possible. They could pull out with the win, but I'm gonna go with Vandy. But at the same time, if Georgia State does get this win, it's going to be a great win for the Sun Belt against an SEC opponent.
Because look, the last 5 games that Georgia State has played has been like Georgia Tech, Chattanooga, but I mean they barely won against Chattanooga, which that kind of had me a little bit concerned there. They ended up losing to Georgia Tech. So look, these teams are finding themselves here. Georgia Tech actually just lost this past week to Syracuse. I was a little upset about that, but we'll see what happens. South Florida versus Southern Miss. South Florida favored by 11 points here. Southern Miss hasn't been the best of themselves basically lately here. So they lost to Kentucky 31-0. They ended up beating Southeastern Louisiana 35-10. So this is a game that you're gonna find out where your measuring sticks at for sure, and seeing how good you are as a team. So with them going being at home against South Florida, they can make this game a touchdown game here. This could potentially be a close one, but I do think that South Florida does pick up the win against Southern Miss. I do want to see them like win against a peer team this year, Southern Miss here, because Will Hall. There's kind of sounding along like a little bit of a hot seat issue over there, but we'll see what happens here. Give me a South Florida. Who you got, Jalen?
So I'm gonna go with South Florida too. But I'm gonna say this: I know Southern Miss. We talk about how they haven't had the best teams in years, and they lost Frank Gore, and they did get a win. They did beat Southeastern, so I have to give them the props where it's due, Chief. I just got to give it to them. They did get the win. So, but in this game, I'm gonna go with South Florida.
Okay, that sounds really good here. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this game here. I do think that it's something that's going to be interesting to see here. We are going to this is just a little recap here, kind of giving our thoughts out there to kind of see how we feel about Kennesaw State here. We will do another podcast next week for the Raging Cajun fans to enjoy here. I will be back live here in about probably 20-30 minutes. So we will talk about the LSU South Carolina game. If you're want to listen to that one, this one is available on YouTube, and this episode is also available right now on Instagram here. So we'll get all that situated here. I will be joined by Juicy later on here. So unless you want to join us at 9, Jalen,
You know,
you're welcome
we'll
to.
we'll see, we'll see. You never know. You never know, fans out there. I might sneak on. You just
You
have to
might
wait
sneak
and
on and
see.
get on the LSU pod here, and we'll talk about the game against South Carolina coming up. So oh yeah, y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be back here in about 20 minutes here. So thank y'all for tuning in to this episode here at the Fishbowl Radio. I wanted to get like something on the air and just kind of just talk about it here. Hope everybody is okay with the Hurricanes, friends. Seeing Jalen, you were out there um, doing some work. Uh, how would you describe the the Hurricane Francine conditions out there?
I would say it wasn't as bad as it was predicted from the get go. I would say I do feel for those people also, especially and going to like Morgan City and those different areas out there that did get hit, especially a lot of trees falling, a lot of water, a lot of power lines down. But everybody in the cities are doing everything they can to make sure it can get to some kind of normal, you know. So, but overall, for me, I mean, it was just a lot of rain. I would say a lot of rain, but it could, and like I said, it could have been worse. So you have to be thankful for that, and you just have to move forward.
Yeah, you do gotta be thankful for all that here. At least you got a roof over your head, you know.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
if you don't have a roof over your head, you know, things can be rebuilt. You know, a home can be replaced. You cannot be replaced. So that is one thing that we can all kind of look at here, sending our thoughts and prayers to everybody affected by the storm,
And
Hurricane Florence.
neighbors helping neighbors. That's also a great thing, especially after aftermath with any kind of hurricane, tornado. Everybody's helping each other. It's not every man or woman for himself, and that's what you do. That's what you gotta love about being out here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've had a rough go basically the last couple of years with it, uh, hurricanes and stuff here. I was working in news whenever Hurricane Laura hit, and I was a cameraman during that thing, so that was probably the most intense experience of just being out in the storm. Just just hearing trees literally fall on people's houses and stuff, and you're hoping everybody's just fine and stuff, and hearing like the wind literally howling like a train coming down a tunnel and stuff, and the stuff being thrown around. That's the worst part about it. The stuff being thrown around everywhere. So everybody that's affected, we hope y'all get back on your feet soon enough. Here, you have the Fishbowl Radio support. Thank y'all for tuning into this episode here of the Fishbowl Radio. We hope you have a great and wonderful day here. We're going to see y'all here in about 20 minutes here on this episode here of the Fishbowl Radio. Thank y'all for tuning in here. Hope you have a great and wonderful night. See y'all here in about 20 minutes here on the Fishbowl Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.